Wow, welcome to my channel once again. Today is the 19th of July 2026, and then it's a wonderful day. Football won. I'm sure you're wondering. Argentina just lost to Spain 1-0 in extra time. Very captivating game, very tough game, even for the Spanish. But it was quite easy for the Spanish, to be honest, because they dominated the entire game for the 90 minutes and even in extra time. Unfortunately, Enzo was red carded, which actually gave the Spanish team much more push to finish off the game. It was actually red carded around the 80 something minutes of the game, which actually gave the other team the impetus to attack more and then deliver the final goal in the extra time. What stood out for me in this game is more of an indictment of how Tuchel should have handled this game better in the semi-final. Watching this game feels more like, how did Tuchel actually lose the game to Argentina in the semi-final? They were there for the taking. He could have made a much better sub. If you look at what the Spanish coach did today, it was quite different. It was more attacking. I mean, in terms of his substitutions, he made Argentina actually suffer. They actually suffered for a long period of that game. They couldn't get out of their half because of the fact that the Spanish are actually very good when it comes to keeping the ball. There's this saying in football that when you keep the ball, your opponent cannot score, which is what has happened to this particular game. It was actually a very good game of football. The Spanish attacked so much, and this guy couldn't get out of the game. But again, congratulations to the Spanish team. Well deserved. Kubasi, young player of the tournament, well deserved. Rodri, player of the tournament, well deserved. And of course, Mbappe finishing as the highest goal scorer of this particular World Cup. Yeah, in terms of ratings, I would rate this World Cup 8 over 10, if not 9 over 10. I was actually there in Atlanta myself to watch England versus Congo, and it was actually a very beautiful, very beautiful time in Atlanta watching England live and direct, and Kane scoring 2 goals to actually win the game for England against Congo. And also the stadium itself. I would like to comment about the stadium, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, one of the best stadiums I've ever visited. I've been to Old Trafford, I've been to City Stadium, I've been to Wembley, I've been to a lot of stadiums here in England. But again, I've never seen a stadium as beautiful as the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Atlanta. So I'll say I've seen a lot of stadiums in the US. I'll give this World Cup maybe a 9 over 10. Maybe a 9 over 10. Was actually quite, they've put together a very nice World Cup, yeah, with Mexico and Canada. And it's, at least from what we've seen so far, it's a huge success. So kudos to USA, kudos to Canada, and kudos to Mexico as well. Yeah, so the caption of this particular video, why am I recording this video, is to discuss why Tuchel has to go. Tuchel has to go. He really needs to go. Looking at the game today, I'm even much more angry now than when the game actually finished against Argentina. I mean, England versus Argentina. Looking at how Tuchel actually handled that particular game, it was a disaster. It was a disaster. And I'm sure he's saying that he doesn't have any regrets, which, in my opinion, is not true. I'm sure on his, night bed, he probably thought about some of the decisions he actually made, which, in my opinion, they're actually quite stupid decisions. So I believe that, I'm not sure if FA is trying to leave him on, but I believe he needs to go. Tuchel has to go. And Tuchel is a coach who doesn't take responsibility, which is a really, really, really a bad one for England when it comes to, coming out to say, okay, I got it wrong. Anybody could. I got it wrong. The game could have been different. I could have made a different sub. I could have done things differently. But unfortunately, He made some very, very funny subs that day that leaves much to be desired. Like, how could you have brought in three defenders at 65 minutes? You scored at 55 minutes and you started defending throughout the end of the game. It was really, really a bad one. Very, very bad, actually. And okay, it was more of a Tuchel bottled job, in my opinion. The player didn't do. Of course, some people are actually blaming the players. In my opinion, the players are not to be blamed. Tuchel made the subs, not the players. I've seen some commentaries on YouTube here, seen some commentaries around where people started blaming the players. The players did not make those subs. Tuchel did, which means that Tuchel is 100% responsible for the outcome. He should take the responsibility. Tuchel is 100% responsible for that game. And he needs to take responsibility. And at this point, I think Tuchel needs to go. He needs to be fired. He needs to leave. In my opinion, Tuchel needs to go. This final has shown that Tuchel literally bottled that game against Argentina. Could England have given Spain much more than what happened today? 100%. I believe England could have given Spain much more to work with. Much more to put on the pitch. I think the possession after the game was so much that you could see that Spanish were destined to actually, in fact, it was going their way. There was no way the Spanish team could have lost that game. They had so much possession. They had so much chances. So I believe England could have given them a much better game, and even the fans would have probably enjoyed it more than they did with Argentina versus Spain. Because the game was it was just one-sided game, in my opinion, and I believe the English team could have done much better against Spain than what Argentina did. Is that the end of Messi? We don't know. Is he going to announce his retirement? We don't know. But I just want us to quickly dissect why I believe Tuchel needs to go. I believe Tuchel needs to leave. And if you remember, people have been mentioning it. When Tuchel came on board, Tuchel said this thing during his interview, when Tuchel was actually brought in. He said, talking about Southgate's team, he said they were more afraid to drop out of the tournament than the hunger for them to win the tournament or the excitement for them to win the tournament. I'll say that again. When Tuchel came on board, he mentioned that why England have been, going out of tournament, whether it was Euro 2001 when they lost to Italy or whether it was the Euro 2024, he said something that they were more afraid to drop out or lose than the hunger and excitement to win the tournament. We can actually use the same word for Tuchel as well. Use it exact word for Tuchel. Tuchel was more afraid to lose that game than to win it by bringing on more defenders. I think Tuchel needs to go. This should be it. Tuchel needs to go. He needs to be fired. He could have done the honorable thing by resigning because that particular game against Argentina showed how mid-level of a coach Tuchel is. Tuchel bottled that game. And moreover, in my own opinion, I don't think Tuchel is as good as we thought, or Tuchel is not as good as we've seen, when he was in PSG, whether when he was in Bayern as well. The same thing he did against Argentina, he did it when he was at Bayern. When Bayern was playing against Real Madrid at Bernabeu. Same job again. Removed the strikers for defenders. And Real Madrid went on to win the game in 9 minutes of that game. They scored 2 goals within 2 minutes. And they lost. And he nearly lost the 3rd place again. You were controlling the game for the first 45 minutes, controlling the game. You were practically winning the game. What did he do in second half? He removed Rashford and he brought in 2 strikers, exposing the midfield. The French team could have actually come back and actually they could have won the game. Olise lost quite a lot of chances. Tuchel nearly lost that 4-goal lead again, which shows how mid-level of a coach he is. Tuchel needs to go. I think he needs to be sacked. And I believe the English team should start looking at the Spanish coach. Yes. Some people say why. I believe a Spanish coach would revolutionize how England actually handles matches when it comes to controlling a game. When you control a match, your opponent cannot score. What the whole idea, I mean, there's a saying in football, like I said earlier, that when you hold the ball, your opponent cannot score. When you hold the ball, because your opponent needs the ball to score. So when you actually hold the ball, your opponent cannot score. And see today, from start to finish, the Spanish team literally controlled the entire game from the blast of the window to the end of the game. But the last 5 minutes after they've scored, where they needed to, keep on the game. If at that point too, they were still controlling the game until Argentina started trying to, equalize the game in the dying minute of the game. So I believe England, the FA should look at getting a Spanish coach who is proven. Pep is still out there, which means that Pep is available, I mean, they should be able to convince Pep. Looking at the way Pep has played it, I mean, Pep has been in England for almost 10 years, which means that he's probably, in love with the English weather, in love with the English food and everything. So I believe they should approach Pep. England really needs a Spanish coach. And I believe a Spanish coach would really do wonders when it comes to their midfield. Tuchel never thought of bringing on Mino, not even for once, to control the game, to see out the game. We are here thinking what could have been, because if he had brought on Mino, brought on Rashford and Saka against Argentina, I believe sincerely that England would have won that game comfortably towards the end. But Tuchel has shown repeatedly that he is a mid-level coach, and he can't be. I don't think anybody trusts. I don't think the players trust him any longer. I've seen some comments on social media. I've seen some comments from Saka. I've seen some comments from Ivan Toney, even Declan Rice. I don't think the players actually trust him. And if the players no longer trust him, I think he needs to go. And Tuchel is a very stubborn coach, and he doesn't take responsibility. And the players are not to be blamed. It's Tuchel. Tuchel is the problem. They don't trust him any longer. I don't even think the players want him. Players like Bellingham, players Saka, players Meno, they don't want him any longer. I don't think the players believe in their coach anymore. For what he did against Argentina, I believe the players, they're done. They're done with Tuchel. And I think the FA needs to really pick on this and then get him out. The players don't want to play for Tuchel any longer. I believe that sincerely. The players no longer want to play for Tuchel. And even came out to say that, England, they don't know how to keep the ball. You literally have Meno on the bench. When it comes to seeing out a game, Meno is the best in that England squad. In fact, England doesn't have that profile of the player in that tournament apart from Meno. Somebody that can play like Vitinha or he play like Cruz to keep the ball. I'll stop there today. I'm just really looking at the game that we just finished right now between Argentina and Spain. It was just the hunger just came all over me again to say Tuchel really needs to go, and this is it. That the FA needs to get him out and bring in a Spanish coach to see England into the Euro 2028. And I believe England has a good chance of winning it with a very good coach to actually win the Euro 2028. Not with Tuchel. Tuchel is a very stubborn coach. And he is not the type that it doesn't take responsibility. Tuchel should be sacked. And I believe he needs to go. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe. If you've enjoyed this particular content, please subscribe. And then I'll see you next time. Thank you. Peace out.